Greetings, I'm Kathy Green with Christian News and Interviews. You know, from time to time, and when I say from time to time, I actually mean regularly, somehow some of the comments that I receive are filtered out. And so my people who are leaving comments on my channel probably think that I'm deleting their comments or blocking their comments or whatever, but I'm not. YouTube, I guess it has some type of bot that goes in and eats comments. And some of the comments that get eaten are really good comments. So I shared a story recently about an attorney, beautiful attorney who had gotten herself hooked up with a bum, a thug. And that bum killed her. And then went on this bizarre rampage where he was jumping from balcony to balcony and having a shootout with cops. So I'm assuming that he had all kinds of drugs in his system. And I questioned, why would a beautiful, educated Black woman or a woman of any background hook themselves up with a piece of garbage? And so I got an interesting response from several people, but the one that was blocked out from YouTube was by a man named Blue, or woman, I don't know if it's a man or woman, by someone named Blue Indigo. And I would like to share Blue Indigo's letter. He or she says, somehow hooked up with a thug. Now, the reason the person asked me that question was because I had mentioned in my in the video tape that this woman had gotten herself somehow hooked up with a thug. So Blue Indigo is questioning what I said. So Blue Indigo goes on to say, come on now. Sadly, it is well known and established that this is the preference for so many Black women. This has been a part of the culture, quote unquote, culture for a long time. Most Black women are hybristophiliacs. Now, I have not looked that up yet. So I don't know what a hybristophiliac is. I'll look it up though, to some degree. It could be described as Harley Quinn syndrome. Black women have even made anthems about it over the years. The songs have been fixtures in Black culture. It seems I'm a Black grad school educated, decent guy, stable, thoughtful, reliable, no children, and I have seen it for decades. Okay, so Blue Indigo is indicating that he is Black. Okay. I witnessed it firsthand. In middle school, the Black girls would call me corny. Today, they use the term lame. But back then, they used the word corny. I was corny because I would do my schoolwork, didn't fight or act like a thug, didn't sag, and I tried speaking proper English. That was decades ago, except for the different terminology. Not much has changed. I'm all for Black women dating out if they can't find a good Black man. It doesn't bother me because I was so negatively impacted by experiences with Black girls and turned off to them so much in middle school and the early part of high school that my interests, preferences was cemented for other women, just something that naturally happens. So I'm not bothered by Black women being with white men or other non-Black partners. They were never mine. So I'm all for it. I always thought it was strange for women to put themselves in these situations, dating men who used them and brought more danger to their lives, either directly or indirectly. So often they are with men who don't deserve it. The problem is Black women in general tend to be innately and subconsciously attracted to men like this. The vast majority of Black women who are attracted to the worst traits in the worst men. It's hard for them to resist guys who are thugs, covered in tattoos, aggressive, violent, ultra masculine, domineering, jailbirds, players, etc. Black women generally are extremely attracted physically, sexually to this kind of guy. Most are in some kind of denial about that and have been since forever. But more are finally being honest about it and admitting that this is a problem in their community. This isn't the only story like this out of Spelman. There have been a few that I recall off the top of my head. And he ended it there. Blue Indigo, I'm going to respond to your letter. And first of all, thank you for writing it. I'm sorry that YouTube snatched it, snagged it, and didn't print it or post it, but I'm giving you the floor here. I'm going to respond to some of what you said in your letter, Blue Indigo. I'm going to go point by point because you made some good points here, and I'm not going to write you off. I want to take you seriously because I don't believe you're the only man who feels this way, okay? Now you say most Black women are hybristophiliacs. Now I could kick myself because I did not look this word up. So I can't respond to this. I have no idea what this is. I'll have to look that up later. And then you said it could be described as the Harley Quinn syndrome. Well, I believe Harley Quinn was a lesbian. So I can't respond to that either because most Black women are not lesbians. So I'm not really sure if that's what you're saying. But again, I fault myself for not looking up this word hybristophiliacs prior to answering you. Then you say Black women have made anthems about what? About their love of thugs? I'd like for you to follow up if you ever see this and tell me some of the anthems that Black women have made about thugs. I will be, because you have to understand, I don't listen to this crazy music that's out here. When I'm in my car, I have my iPad with me, and believe it or not, I'm pulling up oldies. I'm pulling up music from the 80s, the 90s, and a lot of Motown. I also listen to a lot of YouTube when I'm in my car. So I don't even use my radio anymore. I just use my iPad in my car. So these anthems that you're talking about, help me out. Let me know what anthems Black women have used in which they are saying that they love thugs. Okay, so get back with me if you ever see this. Then you go on to say that you, it seems that, let's see, you say it seems, there must be some typos here because you say it seems too, I'm a Black grad school educated decent guy. Okay, so you're telling me that you got your bachelor's degree, you got your master's degree, and you refer to yourself as a decent guy. And you say you're stable, you're thoughtful, you're reliable, and you have no children. Okay. All right. So you are within the Black community, one of the talented 10th. Okay. And I'm assuming that you're setting yourself up to let me know that you're not some thug, you're a decent, educated Black man, and you can't understand what the issue was with not being able to find a Black woman who appreciated that. I would be curious as to what college you went to. Personally, I attended an HBCU, an historically Black college. The men I dated were Black. I appreciated kind men. The man I'm married to is Black. He's kind, he's decent, he's upstanding, he has a degree, he owns his own business, and so on and so forth. Married 15 years, almost 16 years, we've never had an argument, not one. So there are Black and white women, Black and white women, there are Black women and men who are part of what I would call the talented 10th, and look that up, look up what talented 10th means. I don't have time to get into it. From decent backgrounds who hook up with each other and have good marriages. So I do need for you to understand that. If you weren't finding decent Black girls, I'm wondering, did you go to an all Black school, a predominantly Black school? Did you go to a predominantly white school? Okay. I'm curious as to what kind of school you attended to get your undergraduate and your graduate degrees, because I can tell you as a person who comes from a decent background, an educated background, I can tell you that there are many Black women who are educated, higher degrees, come from stable backgrounds, wonderful women, my sorority sisters, my cousins, my friends. I don't hang around with trash. So I'm telling you that there's some good Black women out there. They're in my family, they're in my social circles, so on and so forth. Okay. So you say that when you were in middle school, the girls would call you corny. And you're assuming that they were calling you corny because you dressed well, you were a decent person. I wasn't there, so I don't know why they were calling you corny, but maybe they thought you were a nerd. But that didn't have anything to do with the way you dressed, though. Maybe they thought there was, it's hard to say, but when I think back to middle school, we were pretty mature. We didn't go around calling people names in middle school. We were pretty mature. But in the few instances where you would see the bullies who would pick on people, it usually wasn't because people were trying to get a decent education. It was probably because of something that they were doing. Maybe they were arrogant or something. I'm not saying that you were, I'm just throwing some other possibilities out there. If someone thought that they were better than us, we would have some choice words for those types of people. So you say today they use the word lame, but back then they used the word corny. And in your opinion, you were corny because in their eyes, because you did your schoolwork, you didn't fight, you didn't act like a thug, you didn't sag. Well, you mentioned, I think you mentioned somewhere that this was decades ago. Well, sagging hasn't been out for decades. It's been out for about, what, 15 years? I don't know why that ignorance won't stop. But men didn't always sag. So I'm not sure why that would be an issue. And then you say you tried speaking proper English. Well, again, I attended predominantly elementary, middle, high school. Well, high school was all girls, but I attended predominantly Black middle and elementary school, and then college. And we were speaking proper English. We weren't running around, hey, yo, what's up? None of that nonsense. Were there a few people speaking, what I would call slang, predominantly slang and cursing? Of course. But for the most part, even now that I'm an adult, most of my friends speak proper English, don't run around cursing every other word. They may curse every now and then, but every other word is not a curse word. They're not running around with these double negatives and improper English. So I hope you're not one of these Black people who feel that if you speak proper English, that sets you apart from other Black people. I need for you to understand, Blue Indigo, that there is a huge ocean of educated, decent Black people out there. That's the point I'm trying to make. And there's nothing special about you that you could speak proper English. Okay? And then you go on to say you're not really bothered by Black women with white men or with other non-Black partners. I'm happy to hear that, because Black men have been dating white women, Hispanic women, mixed women, Indian women, whatever they want to date. And now we have a huge number of Black men who are now dating transsexual men and calling those transsexual men women. Hey, go for it, whatever. But Black men have been doing that thing for years. And so it's time for Black women to stop being so loyal and to date outside of their race if they so choose. And then you go on to say, so often they are with men who don't deserve it. I agree with you there. And that would go for women of any race. The problem is Black women in general tend to be innately and subconsciously attracted to men like this. Do you understand when you say innately? Something that's innate is something that you're born with. Are you saying that Black women are born with a desire to be with bombs? Is your mother with a bomb? Are your sisters with bombs? Are your cousins, your aunties, your Black neighbors, are they with bombs, sir? Be careful when you use words like innate, because it sounds like you, see, I could turn that around and say it seems like Black men are innately drawn to the thug life. Black men are innately drawn to dating women other than Black women once they get an education. Black men are innately interested in running around selling drugs. But wouldn't that be unfair to Black men? Innate means that you're born with it. You can't help it. And I know too many Black people who are normal. I don't believe for a second that Black women are innately attracted. I believe that a lot of Black women don't know how to pick a man based on the fact they've been watching too many movies and they grew up without a father. And I don't blame Black girls for growing up without a father. I blame the Black men who created the baby and walked out the door and never looked back. Black men are getting away with a whole lot and they're putting it on Black women, and Black women don't deserve that. You go on to say the vast majority of Black women are attracted to the worst traits and the worst men. Majority? How did you come up with that? Are you aware of the fact that a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, there was a huge newspaper article about the fact that Black women are some of the most educated women in the United States of America now? Black women believe in marriage. That's why so many Black women, I'm not talking about these thug Black women. I'm not talking about these loud, crazy Black women. I'm not talking about these nutty Black women who do hang out with drug dealers and putting their lives in jeopardy. I'm talking about normal sisters. Don't put all of us into a box. I don't even associate with those kind of people. It's hard for them to resist guys who are thugs. Sir, I've never dated a thug in my life, and I've been Black all my life. I've never dated a man with tattoos, although I'm not against tattoos. I've never dated a man with one. My husband doesn't have any tattoos. He's not aggressive. He's not violent. He's not ultra masculine. He's not domineering. He's never been to jail. He's not a player. So don't say the majority of Black women are attracted to those kind of men. Where do you get that? Where do you get your statistics from? Show me the receipts. Black women generally are extremely attracted physically, sexually to this kind of guy. Really? Which Black one? You need to stop it. You need to change your circle, sir. You're hanging around with some strange Black women. You're hanging around with the kind of Black women I wouldn't even sneeze at. Switch circles. Find some decent Black women to hang around. And then you say some are in denial about that. Well, I'm in denial about it because it's not my life. I told you, I've been married for over 15 years, and my husband is a decent, educated, wonderful Black man. So it's not my life. It's not the life of my sister, my cousins, my aunts, my sorority sisters, my friends. And then you say, more of finally being honest about it and admitting that this is a problem in their community. Well, I would admit that there are some Black women who unfortunately are attracted to some thugs and the wrong type of men. But I also would admit, and I hope you would too, that there are some Black men who are out here creating babies and walking off and leaving these women to fend for themselves. Can I get you to admit to that? I'm happy that you have 20/20 vision when it comes to Black women. I hope you have at least 20/40 vision when it comes to Black men. To my listeners, I'm going to look up the word hybristophiliacs, and I will post below what it means. Enjoy your evening.